Starting the top of the hour with breaking news at 5 o'clock.
Firefighters working to put out a 3-alarm fire at a Motel 6 in Spring.
Check out the smoke and the view from Air 11 over the fire on Cypresswood Court. This is near I-45.
This started around 3:15 this afternoon, and according to what the hotel has told him, at least 20 rooms were occupied.
I need to dispatch on a fire alarm at a business 19606 Cypresswood Court.
Every firefighter has their handful of fires that either they almost got injured or killed in, or it was a significant fire like the once-in-a-career fire. This will be a fire that I'll never forget.
District 70, Engine 77, Engine 78, fire alarm, Motel 6.
Initially, we were sitting there in Chief Logan's office, and on his call screen, it popped up as an automatic fire alarm. Within a couple seconds, the dispatcher had typed that they were taking calls. Right away, I got up and walked out of the door, knowing that we were going to a fire.
I need the firemen. One of the room is on fire. We'll go ahead and get the fire department out there, get everyone out of the hotel, okay?
Do you see any flames or just a black smoke?
It was just a black smoke on the 3rd level.
On the way, I started thinking, I know it's a very large building. It's got a common attic. It's not sprinklered. It's lightweight construction. And the biggest fear I had was that it's an interior hallway. People trying to evacuate, they're all having to pile up into that interior hallway.
Engine 77 beyond location on a 3-story commercial building, nothing showing, beyond investigate.
When we got there on scene, people were standing out, but you heard automatic alarms going off. And a few seconds later, one of the chiefs was coming from a different way, saying maybe had some smoke in the backside.
So we pull up, Captain Wilson jumped out, and there's a bunch of people sitting up front. We're like, okay, so the fire alarm's going off, so everybody's know to evacuate.
We made it around to the backside of it, and that's when you could see a visual picture of the 3rd floor. It was fire from the 3rd floor in the back.
As soon as we were coming around, there's a crowd of people, cars. I mean, it's a crowded motel, cars on each side, not much room, but just people lined up on the left, screaming, hollering, and pointing. We're like, what's going on here? And they point, and we look. As soon as we pass the building, we see a broken window with multiple people hanging out the window. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about this. So I think we were all halfway out of the engine before I had set that e-brake.
So we automatically went from attacking the fire to rescue mode.
Where these people are hanging out, smoke's rolling over, and there's still glass shards that are falling down on us because they're trying to come out of the building. We raised the ladder, and we just had to think to ourselves, slow down, because we're moving too fast, adrenaline's kicking. I was like, hey man, we got to slow down and do this right.
I got people hanging out the window on the 3rd floor. Engine 77 has stopped making the fire attack. We're in rescue mode.
Our biggest concern is always life safety. So when you have that high of an occupant load, that's got to be your thought process the whole time, is rescuing people. As we were setting up for the fire attack, we had to rescue people as fast as we could.
So we got the ladder to them. It's only a 24-foot ladder. It was probably 28 feet to the bottom windowsill, so we were short. So we had to readjust the ladder, and the ladder's almost sitting straight up and down. And these people still have to come down 4 foot to make to the top of the ladder. We were trying to get the 4th person out, and she was like, no. She's like, I'm not coming down this ladder. I don't know if she was scared of heights or anything like that, but she was willing to stay in that building and not come down. We had to talk her into, ma'am, you're gonna not survive these conditions if you do not come down this ladder with us right now.
I got ladder 75 is going up the stairwell.
Our initial job was to assist with rescue with Captain Wilson.
Engine 77 had already said that they were in rescue mode because they had people hanging out of windows. So as soon as we heard that, we knew right away, we were gonna have to go in, get people, and for me, it was gonna be important to get as many ladders as possible to various windows, so given not just the people inside, but our firefighters as well, a means of egress to get out in case they needed it.
When I first arrived, I was assisting Engine 77. I was actually cutting the corner, and you could see a guy hanging on the 3rd floor. It looked like he was gonna jump because there was smoke coming out that window. And I ran over. Jeff Page had thrown up the ladder. I climbed up the ladder to assist the patient that was hanging from the window. And I was able to look inside the room. You can see the room filling up with smoke quickly. So we assisted him down.
We met up with Chief Logan, who told us it was up on the 3rd floor where the fire originated. So we hit the stairs and made our way up from there to start a search.
You got 5 steps up, maybe that stairwell, and it was complete blackout conditions. It was okay. You know, the severity of the situation is sinking in. There's something to it.
My initial thought was to have firefighter McCord, who was on the pump can, go in there real quick, knock down the fire, not thinking there was too much, and proceed from there. While he was in the room, I actually caught the images on my helmet cam with my thermal imager. The room actually flashed on us.
Our gear is built for us to be able to survive a flashover for a very short period of time. You get caught in a flashover, you get out of that environment as fast as you can, and that's why our gear has such a high level of rating. So a flashover is every piece of material inside that room reaches its combustion point and everything lights on fire at the same time. So you're talking from the carpet to the couch to the bed, everything's on fire at one time.
Everything was on fire around us, and I would, you know, whip the pump can around and I'd put out a little spot and it would light back up just right away.
Luckily they were able to get out. We did have damage to gear, but our gear that we have, we make sure is the highest level of protection so nobody gets hurt if they get caught in that kind of situation.
Which floor?
After we pulled those 3 people out, we got reassigned to do a primary search on the 2nd floor. And then we completed that, radioed in to the chief and let him know we completed that, and we went up to the 3rd floor.
The side that we entered the 3rd floor from, we heard somebody holler saying, "Hey," and wasn't quite sure if it was one of the other crew members or anything like that, but we listened to it, we heard it again, and that's when we encountered the victims right there in the hallway.
They were still conscious. I had them to get down to the floor, and we had just got a door open we were searching from before we caught up to them, so we had pulled them into their room, closed the door behind us so the smoke wouldn't get in. We had to bust out that one, and we called for ladders to be thrown so we can get them out that window there.
The victims that we evacuated off the 3rd floor, there were a few of them that were in a serious peril of not being able to exit, period. I heard stories from guys say that they came across victims in the hallway that had more or less surrendered to the fact that this is where they were going to pass away. And if it weren't for our members, we would have had a number of casualties.
There's to be a defensive fire, need an evacuation zone.
We had to cut a hole in the roof in order to vent the heat and smoke that was on the 3rd floor to make it easier for firefighting efforts and to make space more tenable for any victims that remain. When we did that, it essentially opened the attic space up. And once we began to ventilate the heat and smoke out, the wind started to blow. And the south wind forced the fire laterally, and it ran through the attic.
For a once-in-a-career kind of fire like that, they fought like heck. And I'm so proud of everything they did, because they fought their butts off for many hours. And we had mutual aid from so many departments to come and help. It's one of those ones you can sit back and go through and look at and Monday morning quarterback, but you know, in the heat of the moment, those guys, they deserve all the credit. They were heroes that day for sure, rescuing all those people.
I think about that fire because it was very challenging, from managing 3 alarms worth of people with all the rescues, having communication, and then water supply issues. The fact that we were able to physically rescue 8 people, walk out at least 20, and have 0 firefighter injuries, with the amount of fire that was showing and the number of challenges that the building presented to us, the fact that we were successful and had no loss of life and no injuries is satisfying. You know, I'm surrounded with a young group of talented men and women that come to work every day ready to work. I can't be more proud to be part of an organization and surrounded with such great firefighters.
I've had many people tell me this is what you would call a career fire. This one was one for the books. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, and a lot of good things happened, and it's definitely something I'll never forget.
To be able to fight fire and rescue people, and it was just everything that we trained for, all the training we put them through, when they can perform at that level like they did that day, it's worth every penny we'll spend on them.